Welcome back to PTV World Special Transmission Situation Room. We were discussing the Indian lies, Pakistan's befitting response, and the international community support to what Pakistan stood for, and Pakistan offered India that it is willing to support in any way if there is any independent and honest and transparent inquiry into that false flag operation. And in fact, today when the foreign minister Shahzad was talking to his Swiss counterpart, so even the Switzerland, it offered the two countries that it would play the role of a neutral investigator, but there is no response from India whatsoever, total complete silence. And why? We all know that that was a false flag operation, a complete and baseless lie, and in fact it was an attempt to get some petty political gain by the BJP, Indian intelligence agencies. They are in hand in gloves in that crime, and in fact the blood of all those 26 people who lost their lives in that false flag operation, it's on Mr. Narendra Modi, his companions, and Indian intelligence agency. And India had a track record of conducting such false flag operation, not only within its territory but also excuse me, its intelligence agencies were involved in the assassination in other countries. Take Canada, for example, as we were discussing in earlier previous hour. So we would continue the discussion, and in this hour we will discuss the possibility of the way out of this situation. Pakistan is behaving in a very civilized and in a very responsible manner, but on the other side, the Indian media, the jingoistic media and Indian government, they are basically trying to capitalize on that unfortunate event, and they are basically trying to put the entire blame on Pakistan for their own, as I said, political gain. So in the studio I am being joined by Aniq Zafar, a senior analyst. Thank you so much, Mr. Zafar, for joining us, and we would also be joining very soon by Brigadier Nawaz, Namrah, Sohail, and Ambassador Ghalib Iqbal. Aniq Zafar Saab, the question, what exactly they are thinking?
Well, that is a very confusing question. I think what is very apparent right now is that whatever was thought about, whatever was the plan, it was some hastily prepared plan. The objectives, the strategic objectives, were not clear, and the speed with which they tried to blame it on Pakistan was a giveaway, frankly. So after that, I think they have lost way. They had hoped that they will get a lot of support from the world, from other countries, which has not been forthcoming. All the countries have advised them caution, advised de-escalation, and also has asked India for proofs. That what is the proof that you are alleging that it was done by someone associated with the state of Pakistan. I will not go to the extent of saying that those perpetrators were either Pakistanis or Indians or indigenous Kashmiris, because we also do not have the information. But blaming a state for such an action, you need to have some solid evidence.
Of course.
That is what they have failed to produce. So consequently, all their strategy is now haywire. They do not know how to respond now. Then again, in the immediate aftermath, they said they will be suspending Indus Water Treaty, again a step which may have consequences, but not in the short term.
Of course.
Even if they want to carry on with the suspension of it, if they want to divert water from those three main rivers, it will take years and years to build that capacity. And that is very much even Indian analysts and commentators know about it.
Of course.
Besides the jingoistic media, which
tell me one thing. I did some research and I failed to find a single country except India which killed 26 of its own citizens just to throw a blame on an enemy state, what they consider as an enemy state. But there was no example in the modern history in which a government would kill its own 26 citizens. I mean, I fail to understand the mentality of the people behind that false flag operation.
Again, see, if a country has expansionist designs, if a country has designs on its own minorities, if a country has designs on the region, I think it is only such a country which can think about such callous attitude. Again, I'm very clear that this operation was conducted by some actor which had no clue that what will be the fallout. It was stupidly
Conceived
planned and
exactly.
conceived plan. If any strategic thinker would look at it and think that they will be
Right.
that state or country will be able to create any impact in the region with that,
Sure.
I think it was very badly conceived.
Very badly conceived. Namrah, Sohail and Brigadier Haris Nawaz has also joined us. Thank you so much for both of you for your taking some time out for the show. Namrah, to you first. Tomorrow, Information Minister and DG ISPR, they both going to address a briefing, and they are going to brief the media about the important development. And we also heard that the political parties are also going to be briefed by the government about the current situation. So could you please shed some light on this, that what exactly is going to happen tomorrow, and what for Information Minister and DG ISPR are going to tell us? Namrah, could you hear us?
Yes, Shahzad, can you hear me?
Okay, the question was that tomorrow Information Minister and DG ISPR are going to address a press conference. Could you just tell us what exactly they are going to tell us, the important plans, how they are going to brief the country, the world, the media about the current situation?
Shahzad, every briefing that is coming out in these days is of absolute importance. We know that there is a changing scenario every day, and because of the regional security situation is as such that we need briefings in a much firmer way. DGISPR, our Deputy Prime Minister has already briefed the nation. We have had National Security Committee meeting where what Pakistan would want to do about the situation, the decisions that were taken has already been out with the nation and with the world. And tomorrow's briefing is obviously of absolute importance, and we get to know more about how Pakistan wants to take its stance forward with this Pahalgam terror attack. It has been, Pakistan has briefed the national media, the foreign media, and Pakistan's statements and Pakistan's message is out there clear to the world and to India itself that how Pakistan wants to react. It's because I cover the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the diplomatic front. I would really want to put forward that Pakistan has been very, very active on the diplomatic front. Pakistan has contacted our DPM.
Soon after that false flag operation, India wanted important world capital to snub Pakistan. But I mean, what happened was entirely opposite to that expectation. Why exactly that happened? Why did not world accuse Pakistan after that event?
Obviously, India has failed to provide any supportive. It has no evidence that if Pakistan was involved in or not. Pakistan has called for an international transparent probe. So why does not India want to have that international probe? Why is India totally silent on that? And rather, its media the frenzy that the Indian media is creating, it's creating more problems for the security situation in the region. And Pakistan has contacted more than 23 foreign ministers and deputy prime ministers of the world. Our diplomatic front has been really active. So that's why, exactly why, India has not been able to achieve what it wanted to. India has been trapped in its own game, and the world is not blind to facts. Pakistan has given an open proposal that Pakistan wants a transparent investigation into the matter, and many countries have, like the deputy prime minister today talked to the Foreign Minister of Switzerland, and Switzerland Foreign Minister offers good offices for facilitation in this transparent investigation. So Pakistan has nothing to hide. Pakistan is like an open book
Of course,
right
and
now.
that's why we time and again we offered our full support and cooperation into any independent and transparent inquiry. Thank you so much, Nimrah, Sohail, for your input and telling us what exactly going to happen tomorrow when the DGISPR and the Foreign Information Minister would address a press conference. Brigadier Haris Nawaz Sahab, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Soon after that false flag operation, it was expected, and it seemed very clear that India would do another foolish attempt to not invade Pakistan, but so-called surgical strike, the ones they took many years ago, and in fact they received embarrassment in the end. But it did not happen. So were they, or are they still testing water? Are they still, calculating or measuring the world response against Pakistan? Because whatever they conspired, it backfired. It did not bear the exact result what they were expecting. What do you think, sir?
You see, the basic point is the Indian managed this stage drama, and but then the choreography was not good and it kicked out. And I think all negative vibes went all over the world that, and everybody expected and believed that India has done stage drama. They have done a flag false operation in which nobody could believe that the four-person with all weapon and ammunition and uniform, they cross a line of control, travel 150 kilometers, and routes they are not encountered by 9 lakh military people. There was no checkpost checked them, and there was no didn't come in the security cameras. When they reached there was no Rashtriya Rifle, there was no Indian Reserve Police. Everybody had disappeared. And the traveling from the police station to this place is more than half an hour. If they travel half an hour, then come, they investigate for 3, 4 hours. When they go back, and then they can reach a certain conclusion that who has done it. And then this FIR should have registered. But within 10 minutes, registering FIR means everything was worked out pre-planned. Then remaining things were done by a intelligence leak, in which it was shown that how ISI will be blamed after 3 to 4 days. First, the case will be built, and through artificial intelligence, people's interviews will be shown. And there were so many other things. I think everybody thing went against Indians because they had made it in a very wrong way. And then they
Don't you
thought
think?
that the international media, international countries were going to support them. That couldn't happen because they all countries embarrassed the way India had done it. And then within
But sir,
5 minutes, the
Brigadier
European
Sahab, don't you
countries.
think? Don't you think that false flag operation reflected a sick mentality of Modi regime, in which they killed 26 of their own citizens to throw blame on Pakistan or achieve whatever objectives they had in their mind? But don't you think that it reflected a very, very sick mentality? No sane person, regardless of which religion he or she come from, can do such an act.
You see, this gentleman, along with the other group of four, Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, Ajit Doval, and Narendra Modi. Now, they are working all on Akhand Bharat, and they can go to any level. If a prime minister, along with his chief army staff, can kill 45 service soldiers in Pulwama to win general elections, and then create a false flag operation and go for Sadiq Strali in Balakot, and then they in return lost their 2 aircraft. pilot was arrested, and then he gets a fantastic tea, and then he's kind of given a gallantry award. So what to talk about it? This is history in the words that the Indians have done it. And now again, 27 tourists, they were killed. They were never bothered about the families. Nobody that now the opposition leader, the civilians, journalists, then moderate Hindus and the families, they all are, and Kashmir, they all are questioning where are the perpetrators? Where are they? How they could wait? Were they in the gin in the bottle? That came, it was opened, the gin came out, killed the people again, went to the bottle and vanished. I mean, it is very funny. You see, the now let me tell you, Indians have definitely had created a war hysteria. There's no doubt about it. They brought the pitch of the level, it's so high that now it is very difficult for them to go back. But the issue is one, Pakistan governments and military very mature and responsible response as a nuclear state. They showed condolence with the families. They said we stand with the people and we offer independent inquiry to find out the perpetrators and they should be punished. What else Pakistan do? If you
Exactly.
remember, when
What else
the
we could offer? What else we could offer? Absolutely right, sir. Do stay with us. Let me involve Aniq Zafar Saab here. I mean, whatever Brigadier Saab just telling us, our politician, they are they are angel if you compare with the politicians like Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. I mean, they allowed the assassination of 26 of their own citizens. Our politicians, what they do, just some blame game, that's it. I mean, but look at the mentality, and since you've been a political commentator and on monitor and observe the elections all over the world, that how can a political party or or a ruling party can go to such an extent just to get some political gain? Is it possible? Is it in mind boggling?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not political gain, as Brigadier Harris rightly pointed out. It is an agenda of Hindabata and Akhand Bharat, and if you look at the map of that Akhand Bharat, you can see that they have a very expansionist design in their mind, and they just don't want to be a regional bully alone. They want to be the only game in the town. When it comes to the region, and that is South Asia largely. And I think if I am correct, Akhand Bharat has some part of Afghanistan also in its map. Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and all obviously are part of it. So this is not just political. It is a grand ideological game.
Okay.
We had thought only of about say 2 decades back that time for such ideological visions and plans was over, and the world would now be moving towards a more
But is it only the BJP, or even you think that Congress is also hand in glove?
No, I think Congress has entirely a different architecture, a different DNA when it comes to politics. I still believe that Congress, despite being an India-centric and Indian entity, as a party which gave birth to modern-day India, is in its essence largely secular. It is not as ideologically centered on the religion, Hindu religion or Hindabata, because I don't believe that Hindabata is a religion as such. It is an amalgamation of so many practices and beliefs and all that, which vary from one region to another. And
True that.
But even then, they call themselves one religion or one entity. So it is a larger design. That is why it is worrisome. Because when you have that kind of thought process, this is the same kind of thought process that we have with the people like TTP here in Pakistan, right? What is their agenda? Their agenda also is to rule all over Pakistan. Once they'll rule over all over Pakistan, that's God forbid that it ever happens. What will they be thinking? Expanding to other territories, because these ideologies actually are an antithesis to the concept of nation state. Nation state is entirely a different concept,
Of course.
than these ideologies.
Sure.
So we have to understand that this is not driven by a concept of nation state. This is not driven by pure domestic politics. It has a larger design.
Of course.
And that is what we have to counter. And that is why we have to counter it both in terms of securing Pakistan's own strategic geographical interests, defending its land, and also convincing people inside India that this is a very dangerous agenda, and this agenda cannot be completed at all, because the regional power play is not according to the liking of Mr. Modi or his cohorts.
But sir, your excellent explanation and analysis of what exactly the people with Hindutva mindset they have in their mind, and what they exactly have their design for the countries like Pakistan and other neighbors. But the thing is, when you are dealing with such sort of sick people, how can you expect that they would be willing to come sit on a dialogue table and resolve the disputed matter in a civilized manner? I mean, so all these calls for dialogue.
I think this time around they have had a reality check. The way Pakistan responded, the way Pakistani nation responded, I think they now understand that flexing the muscle is not going to deliver any results, because despite their size, their numerical superiority in terms of numbers of weapons or aircrafts or soldiers or whatever, the world knows, and Indian military knows that we have enough capability to give them a bloody nose.
Of course.
So that is what they know, and I think we have made it very clear this time that we are not afraid of taking and climbing the escalation ladder, and that is what has checked them so far.
Exactly. Brigadier Sahib, today the US ambassador, the Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, he in fact urged the world community to play its role resolving the core dispute of Jammu and Kashmir. And what do you think that now, when escalation or the tension is high between the two nuclearly armed South Asian neighbors, the world should now understand that this is not something to be taken lightly, but they must urge India to abide by the UN resolution and sit with Pakistan or with any other mediator, especially the United Nations, to resolve this matter. But you think that is it going to be like that, or India would have another surprise for the entire world, just like that false flag operation?
You see, we must understand, we must be thankful to India, because India has internationalized this Kashmir issue once for again. And now really, I'm sure the way everybody, the whole world is looking towards this direction, that two nuclear powers standing eyeball to eyeball, and this escalation can convert into a regional conflict, and then it follows can go to the world also. So that is what I say. Now is the time that United Nations must fulfill their requirement, resolution. And now it is again international, because Pakistan has also suspended the Shimla agreement, means now the responsibility of United Nations to ensure that they allow the plebiscite rights to the people of Kashmiri. That is very important. That how we pursue this, that's very important. I think in that we have to take into consideration China and Russia, along with our own regional countries, so that we go and pass again standard resolution. Even China can ask for the United Nations their position when they go and then discuss about put of the resolution. But point is, you see, why India is not attacking now. Pakistan's Chief of Minister Nasir Munir has very strongly conveyed certain messages, and those messages were sent very loud and clear. particularly when he was addressing the overseas Pakistani, he talked about two-nation theory, which really badly hit these Americans. And but they do not, Qajarism has been always saying it, and it has proven now what is the plight of those 22 crore people in India, Muslims, how they're spending their life. Their business are being stopped. They're not allowed to do jobs. The Kashmir is burning. Everywhere Muslims are on the mat. And see how in Pakistan we are living because of blessing of our strong armed forces. The security meeting, they said that we will take as act of war in case in India go for war terrorism, number one. But we are all ready to take on any eventuality. Our Indian, each and every inch of the area is covered by missile technology. We said we will retaliate very violently. If you fire one missile, we will fire 10. If your Rafales comes, they will not go back. And I think this time we'll not offer them a fantastic tea, we'll offer them something else also. So in that context, I think now Indians have realized that they can't go from misadventure. But the pitch of the public they have taken so high, they will wait for some opportunity, or they might create another false flag operation. They might again stage some drama like Uri, Rajori, Pathankot, Anantnag, anything, and then they might put with this because this has flopped. Nobody is believing, and they have no moral ground. I think the ship is sinking and is right touching the bottom of the sea. In that context, we are on a much high moral grounds. We are all set. We are all alert, 100%, 24 hours alert. But I think Indian now realize why they have sacked Northern Commander, you see. And this is the most important commander of Northern Command because they 15 and 16 of Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan he was commanding. They have sacked the Deputy Chief Army Staff. I think he has told them that we have got the Rafales, but our pilots are not well trained to handle them. That is another problem. And then they sacked their intelligence DG who leaked this information of
Brigade Saab, these threats of war, don't you think that the threats of war are in fact an act of war? Because India is trying to keep us in peril, keep us disturbed with all these military exercises near the line of control, and you know the maneuvering and the sorties, the violation of Pakistani airspace. Of course, I mean they tried, but they failed. Our armed forces, especially our air force, was very vigilant and ready. But such statements, such maneuvering and threats and conspiracies, in fact, they already wage war against us. So how should be our response in the days and weeks to come? What do you think?
You see, Indians are doing all provocative actions. They are instigating. They are firing on the line of control. We have to be very careful. We do never fire indiscriminate because both sides are Muslim Kashmiris. So we go for their posts, we go for their bunkers, we go for their command structures. Likewise, we are 100% prepared, 24-hour alert. And the only thing is, now is the time friendly countries, particularly America, European Union, and Russia, they all have to make India realize that don't play with the fire. It's a good lot of people, over I think 140 crore people. Then the world investment over there, so they were not like the conflict should go on. And then IPL is being conducted there. A lot of foreign players are there, and there's a question of billion of dollars game. I'm sure they don't want it. There's a one fire from Pakistan side, and the whole of the foreigners they go away, and then their IPL go for the six. So they might wait for 25th May when it's going to finish IPL. But they can do anything. We are prepared. We have told them, don't look towards Pakistan. We will retaliate and retaliate with full might. There is no doubt about it. That's why we fight today, Abdali, to show again that we mean business. We are well prepared. We have Ababil if targets at one time.
Aniq Zafar Sahab, the thing is, despite the economic prowess of India and its good business relationship with the countries in the Middle East and other parts of the globe, but the thing is that those important countries, including United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Turkey, of course, I mean, they backed Pakistan's stance. I mean, they, of course, they heard the logic and they supported the argument of Pakistan, and of course, they asked India to hold independent inquiry and, of course, include Pakistan to get any sort of assistance than any other country. So why it happened? So all that argument that only economy would save India or economy would, you know, make India get everything it wants, it proved wrong in this instance.
Again, as I indicated earlier, that when you are driven by some grand ideological agenda and the agenda of Hintabata, then you forget other strategic imperatives around you. So there are multiple strategic imperatives in this region. It is not Pakistan-India binary which decides the region's politics. There is China, there is Iran. When you look at Iran, then the whole Gulf gets involved. Then current situation in Israel vis-a-vis Gaza. So there are multiple theaters which are linked to this whole region. So the strategic calculus has to understand and take into consideration all those factors. So if you are thinking that only your economic muscle and your large economy and investment of Saudis or UAE or Kuwaitis in India will just force them to support your point of view, that is a miscalculation. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, Pakistan and UAE and all the Gulf countries have a very long-standing strategic and defense arrangement, and besides that, obviously, we have a religious brotherhood also. Similarly, with Turkey, Turkey has its own regional play in the Middle East. We pretty well know that currently they have they are the major player in Syria. So obviously there are multiple factors here. So that was a huge miscalculation by Mr. Modi, and as I was saying that in 2019 they took a major step of crossing over Pakistan and shooting some trees and crows. After that, I think their space to maneuver opinion of the world has shrunk, and as you rightly pointed out, after their indulgence in trying to eliminate dissidents in Canada and US, the world has started to look at India with a different lens. And also this sort of throwing their weight around, again a pet strategy of Mr. Modi, and that he was trying to project himself as a strong man and also project India as if it is now one of the leading powers of the world. I think the real powers of the world, particularly the West, we already know that China obviously has a different strategic relationship with India, where they are competing each other. But even the West, which wants to use India as a counterweight to China, it does not look at India as an equal power on the world stage. It may be a good a good candidate to act as a counterweight, somewhat of a counterweight to China. But if India thinks that it has somehow emerged to be a world power, and that the Western world will accept it as a world power, I think it's mistaken.
Of course. Finally, Brigadier Saab, Pakistan or any other country, any other independent country reserves the right to defend itself under the UN Charter. But in this strange and abnormal situation which was imposed on us by a very hostile and stupid neighbor, why should we think like that? Why should we think that all we have to do is to defend? I mean, don't you think that we need to be proactive and expose India and pay back in the same coin whatever it did and still doing in Balochistan, sponsoring non-state actors and using non-state actors and fitna al-Khawarij as proxies, killing our innocent civilians, our armed personnel. What do you think that why should not we be as aggressive as India is?
You see, we are very aggressive. We have told Indians that if you retaliate, if you do any misadventure, we will act more violently. That means that we are very aggressive. We don't want to do any provocation. We don't want that word should say that we have initiated this war. You see, the point is we have been have given lucre treatment so many issues. When Jafar Express incident occurred, you remember, and when the terrorist attack was there, India did not do any condolence. They did not bother. We feel sorry for what has happened in Pakistan. Rather, they were showing a live progress fighting on in the media and on social media, and they were supporting their but as if that they had planned everything, and they were minute to minute passing information. There we should have taken up a very strong case with our neighbors, with our region, and also with the Islamic country and the United Nations that what India is doing. That is very important. I think now is the time we should also initiate a case against RRS that it should be also taken converted into a banned this terrorist organization like we have done in Jaish Muhammad, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and so many things. Because we have to be proactive now. The time is gone. And let me tell you, the world first time has realized that two nuclear powers can fight. So they might think now that now Kashmir should be resolved. Kashmir should be resolved. Number two, this economy, when the war becomes, doesn't matter much during the nuclear power, because today our all political consensus is there. The whole nation is standing behind the armed forces, and then thank God India that their narrative has now kept away, and now we are all united fighting as a nation. The only thing we need to tell is that now we are together. We must tell the world Kashmir is a nuclear flashpoint. It issue must be resolved, and that is very, very important. If it doesn't happen, I think again India will do some. So many times the Indian, I think 10 to 12 times they've done false flag operation. They have created a stage drama and blame Pakistan, and we keep quiet. That is the time now we should be very aggressive. A message to be sent. If you know you did terrorism in Pakistan, and another I feel honestly very strong that Gulbashan Yadav punishment should be executed, his body bag should go to India. Then Indian will realize Pakistan is how much strong. We give them chance that we show them a lot of apologetic approach. We should show that we are a strong Islamic nuclear state with very hard, battle hard army and with best of geostrategic location. If we tell Dunya and they start buying this thing, I think Pakistan will start getting more respect what we actually deserve.
Very right. Thank you very much, Brigadier Haris Nawaz, for your time and participating in the show. Aniq Zafar Saab, now what is your prediction and expectation that this escalation, which is high at the moment because of Indian stupidity, is it going to be reduced in near future as the world is asking for independent inquiry and asking both countries to calm down? We are calm, not India.
We strangely we are very calm because again, as I said, that we have made our decisions. That what are our options. So there is no confusion. Confusion is on their part. They do not know what their options are. We are pretty clear that what our options are and what steps we are going to take. So that is why our government, our people are very calm. Second, we have been in a sort of a difficult situation since 90s due to terrorism, particularly post 9/11. We have almost seen a war for 25 years post 9/11 as well. So terror incidents and consequences of wars, all these things are pretty normal.
That is very interesting. That we are in a state of war for so many decades.
I mean,
so it doesn't matter whether India waged another war against us.
For more than 40 years, we have been saying Afghanistan, a war of Afghanistan. It has not never ended. So we have a battle-hardened army and we have a battle-hardened nation. So we are least pushed by such theatrics. So we are very calm. As for India, they started on a very high pitch, and I think now they are also trying to find a way out, how to lower down the temperature so that the expectation level of their domestic audience can be lowered to a manageable level.
So, but they're stuck in their own trap.
They're stuck in their own trap. That is what I seriously and sincerely believe, and I sincerely advise them to get out of that trap by snapping out of it instead of trying to wriggle through it. So snap out of it and decide that you are not going to do anything and sit down on the table. I think that will be good for them in the long run and good for the region on the long run.
Of course, and that's exactly what the world is asking.
I think we may have another 24 hours to 48 hours where there still may be some kind of possibility. Another 48 hours, after another 48 hours, I think that window for India also closes. And the world moves on.
All right. Thank you very much, Aniq, Zafar Saab, for your precious time. And once again, Brigadier Haris Nawaz, Namrah, Sohail, they were also with us in the program. Viewers, our transmission would continue, and we would continue to expose the Indian lies against Pakistan. Keep watching PTV World. Good night and Khuda Hafiz.